Well, hello again. So this time, I want to introduce you to Barbara. Normally, when someone says, I don't know my birth time, what do I do? I'll usually print out a chart for 12 noon. That gives us an average idea of what the planets were doing at around the time of their birth. And that can give us some idea, at least in how the general energy tends to run for this person, how to find their flow, and gives us some ideas. But this time, I decided to give you an idea of what to look for potentially if you don't know your birth time and how that can affect your chart. So here I knew Barbara's birth date and her birthplace. But instead of the birth time just at 12 noon, which you see in the center of the screen, I also took the time of 4 a.m., 8 a.m., 4 p.m., and 11 p.m. because there were some differences in how the charts showed up. Now, if I actually sit down at a reading for someone who doesn't know their birth time, we go through a little bit of a process. We do a little sleuthing just to see what we can come up with. So in this case, I asked Barbara, gosh, tell me a little bit about your health. Would you say in general that you have very good health? Or do you feel that, you can get affected sometimes, particularly if you don't sleep very well? Do you notice it the next day? And she said, oh, yes, definitely. I definitely noticed that. I usually feel very tired in the morning, and by the end of the afternoon, I finally feel kind of more myself again. That gave me the idea that potentially the two charts that I want to cross off are the 4 a.m. and the 11 p.m. because if you look, you'll see on the left-hand side, the spleen center. Each of these centers has a particular function in our lives. And when you have those centers filled in, those functions are very prevalent for us. We can rely on them all the time. So in this case, the spleen has to do with health and well-being. People who have a very strong immune system tend to have a defined spleen. So in this case, knowing that Barbara, as a teacher, being in the classroom or used to be in the classroom with students, bringing home different illnesses that she'd pick up from her students, that gave me the idea that perhaps the 4 a.m. and the 11 a.m. times didn't quite work out as best. So next thing was, gosh, the 8 a.m. time has this 23rd gate. And the 23rd gate at the top of the throat center has everything to do with how do you formulate information. So, Barbara, if you're the kind of person who likes to talk, to be able to assimilate information, to give it structure so that people can hear it in a way that empowers them, that could mean that this could be your chart. Or if you tend to be someone, Barbara, who, if you can see at the root center, there are those two channels, and it's particularly the middle channel, which is this channel right over here. It's a channel of mutation. People who have that channel defined tend to be people who have dramatic shifts in their lifetime. Like their life can change 180 degrees and everything changes with them. And then several months, years later, again, 180 degrees. Like you might immigrate from one country to another. You might completely change careers, completely different directions. This might be a potential with what I know of Barbara. But what I want to go with for now is this general time, the 12 noon time, and just give Barbara a very brief, basic idea of her chart. So, Barbara, what we can see with all of those charts is that your particular type is a manifesting generator. You have this red center, the sacral center defined, and you have the connection from this emotional center to the throat, which basically means that your energy wants to express itself emotionally through your throat. And you tend to do this um, uh, through the way that you speak. So the way that you speak can be emotionally defined. There will be an emotional quality to how you speak, but also to how you listen. So you're someone who's very sensitive to music, someone who has this romantic sense of life. Romance is really important to you. It can empower you, and it can also give you these moments where you really want to pull back from life. We call it when the muse is calling, when you kind of feel down and you just want to close the curtains and curl up in bed, put on some romantic music or some gentle music, write your poetry. Those are all beautiful moments for your creative muse to come out. So, just very, very brief little tidbit of information is to always allow the truth of your emotions to guide you in your life. And when you do that, when you follow the guidance of your emotions, not when you're way up high or way low, but when you're getting to this point where everything is kind of evened out, to this place of, okay, I kind of feel good. That nervousness in my stomach is gone. I'm feeling okay. That is the time then for you to be able to make your decisions and actually move forward. Because when you do, mountains can be moved. Okay, I hope that this was helpful. And Barbara, when you do have your real birth time, I'd love to really delve in your chart with you. Take care.